The game I'm making now has undergone so many changes that it is absolutely necessary that you see the progress that I've made. I'm working on a hide-and-seek multiplayer game with Q chameleons. It's a game where you basically have to not get tagged out by the seeker and do your best at camouflaging into your surroundings, while also getting your job done. Because I'm getting closer to actually releasing my game, not all the changes made in the game are going to be necessarily big. Some of them are pretty small, like tinkering with images, UI, menus, and stuff like that. As far as big changes go, I think I'm going to have to decide on which method I want to use to implement multiplayer in the game. Now, I could decide on using Photon 2, which is a older method, but I have used it in the past and it does work, but since it's 2023, that might be outdated for the moment. Or I can go with Unity's new netcoding system, but I'm probably going to have to teach myself that entirely all over. Moving on to the next phase of progression that I made in my game was adding mini games. Now, mini games were already added in there, but instead of adding some type of job or task, I decided to switch it up and make the mini games related to hide and seek. So each mini game is going to be based on camouflaging, which chameleons do. To actually understand some mini games, I had to do a little bit of research, and I found out that there are many different components that make mini games fun. So there are clickers, there are move and drags, there are drag to centers, there are click all buttons, there are mini games with wait timers, there are ones with assemble/puzzles, and there's a push a button and wait until something happens. So using all this different knowledge, I decided to come up with a mini game for the yellow hider. And so as you can see, for this mini game, if you are the yellow hider and you go to where the bananas and the grass are, you can actually decide to camouflage and a mini game screen will pop up. Here you have to actually drag the correct bananas with the correct letter and match everything up, and if you do, you can successfully camouflage. If you don't, then you have failed and you are not that good at hiding. The next mini game I wanted to focus on was for the purple room. So you know, in the purple room you can hide behind these grapes and vines, so I decided to base it off that. And choosing one of the components, I decided to go with a clicker mini game. So if you keep pressing the buttons in the corner, you will notice that the grapevine branches will angle themselves to actually camouflage the purple hider. And if you press them all correctly and within a certain amount of time, you can actually camouflage successfully. I think by adding these mini games, it makes the game of hide and seek much more intense and a lot more fun for other players. Now, I don't want to be a blabbermouth and spoil all the mini games for you, but I will say that adding these definitely adds a little bit more spice to the game.
What is spicy?
If we're talking about the bare minimum of mini games that are going to be in each map, there's going to have to be about 30 plus. So trust me when I say there's still plenty of work to do. The next phase of progress that I had to make in the game was actually planning out each boss that I told you guys was going to come, and this will make the game much more fun for multiplayers. Now, planning out a boss is something that isn't very easy and it takes lots of planning and work to be done. I usually like to start over and bring out the sketchbook and kind of plan out how the boss should look, so I've done lots of planning, and I had to also think about some of the core mechanics and how would that actually change the game of hide and seek. The game of hide and seek revolves around timing and not being tagged out. So I have to ask myself, how do I still keep the same core mechanics but add a boss? Do I add a HP bar? Do I expedite the timing up by a lot? In my opinion, the end goal of adding the boss in a multiplayer hide and seek game is actually to bring the party that you join together to defeat an enemy together. Now, how am I going to pull that off? I'm not so sure exactly, but I'm going to figure it out. So for the boss, I think I'm just going to dedicate an entire video just for that. So we're going to come back to that. The next part of progress that I made in the game was actually leveling up and gaining experience. What's interesting about this is each time you level up, you gain something that helps you get the advantage in playing hide and seek. So that could be either gaining more money or getting better vision at night mode, or even gaining more money so that way you can buy a tool to complete your job much faster. Now, I'm still tweaking around with the idea of leveling up and what you can actually earn by leveling up, but I think this is a great core mechanic to add. to the game. This will push the player to keep playing the game and advancing and leveling up and learning and gaining new things. And by leveling up, you can also prove to your friends how much better you are at Wii Hidden than they are. The next piece of progress that I actually made in the game was making the player go grab a tool that you need to go complete your job. For example, let's say you were assigned a planter and you need your watering bucket to go water your plants. You can use your map to go locate and find the watering bucket, go grab it, and you can go to your job site and go water your plants. By forcing the player to actually leave their hiding spot and go grab their tool makes the game of hide and seek much more intense. You can choose to actually stay at your hiding spot, but that does not guarantee you will earn any money. If for some reason you don't want to do your job, it's okay, you just won't earn any money for it. But that doesn't mean that the seeker won't stop hunting you. And this isn't actually the only reason to leave your hiding spot. If you are playing home base, you will have to leave your hiding spot to go touch the statue. The same can be said if you're playing jailbreak. If one of your good hiders is stuck in jail, you need to go grab the key and release them and set them free. If not, you're probably not going to be friends anymore after this. Each game mode is actually designed to make you leave your hiding spot and possibly get tagged out by the seeker. There are no easy W's. The last and final little progress that I made in the game was changing up the lobby a little bit so it looks a little bit better than before. So if you can't tell, the lobby is actually a treehouse, which chameleons do live in trees, so I thought I would kind of go with that idea. Like I said before, I got a lot of inspiration from the treehouse from Adventure Time, so using that frame of reference and mixing it with my own art style, we have this beautiful lobby scene. Now there's one thing that I definitely can't forget about was all the detail that I put into drawing the leaves for the treehouse. This was one of those parts that took the longest, but it was totally worth it in the end. I mean, just look at the detail. Now this does look pretty good, but I think I could take it up a notch by animating it, and that's where we're gonna have to dive into animating tile sets. But I'm gonna have to save that for another video. And moving on to another fascinating part was actually adding this special door here in the lobby scene. This definitely has some unique potential, but I can't be too clumsy and spill all the beans. But I will say it has to do with leveling up and some final bosses. And lastly, before I wrap up the video, I just want to say that there are a lot of things going on behind the scenes, like marketing and social media awareness. But trust me when I say this, I'm getting closer and closer to releasing my first indie game. And I just want to tell you all thank you for all the viewers that have watched me on this long journey. And with that being said, this is Peak Pineapple saying join the tribe and don't forget to subscribe.